Oh, that's not good.
Good afternoon, everyone. Chris Berryman here, coalition builder and founder of Bringing Humanity Together. Welcome, everyone, to our Bringing Humanity Together live stream. Today is going to be Sharing Care with Sandy. This is one of three open forums under the Bringing Humanity Together umbrella where people can discuss topics related to the workplace, humanity in the workplace in a very positive and constructive way. We want to know what the issues that are out there that are facing people today because it is our goal, our mission, our purpose, and I dare say our calling to both work with employers and employees to bring humanity back into the workforce. And as always, we'll be going live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, all at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Feel free to invite your friends, family, coworkers, and share our live stream events with them too as well, or even share the replay with them too as well. Uh, of course, I host Conversations for Humanity on Wednesday. Uh, Carla Finnegan, as you see here, hosts Humanity Happy Hour on Thursday. And Sandy Chernoff hosts Share Care with Sandy, and she will be here momentarily. As you jump on, feel free to comment in the chat where you're jumping on from. If you're watching this on the replay, be sure to comment the hashtag replay, and we'll let us know where you're watching from, and we would love to have that great and engaging conversation with you about today's topic and everything like that. And if you wanted to get to know more about bringing humanity together, please reach out to one of us, and we would like to have that great and engaging conversation with you too as well. So how are you doing today, Miss Carla?
I am doing good. I'm trying to do two things at once.
Multitasking.
The rain stopped, so I'm good.
Good. All right, we're just waiting for everybody else to join the call. We're going to get started here in a few minutes, and I really liked what Sandy did in one of her articles, and it was really, I just truly loved it, and I'm going to bring it up here shortly. And
yeah, I love the first line in the article.
Oh yeah,
that was just like, okay, eye-catching.
Yep.
The people leave their brains and their hearts at the door when they go to work.
Yep.
It's so true.
Here, that is true. So here is what we'll be talking about today. I'm going to share my screen here. And Chrome tab. Here we go. Tips to manage the stress of your remote team. And this has been done by our...
Okay.
So here we go. Like I said, this is, like I said, really insightful.
She also did the, what the best leaders do that others don't. That one was a great one too.
Yeah, that one is going to be a great one. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But her key bullet points are in here is lack of social interaction, work-life balance, and too many distractions.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of positives to being able to work remotely, and it's great for an organization, but there's also some negatives that go along with it, just like they were talking about. That a lot of people are affected by the fact that they don't get to socialize with people. They're very social people, and they miss that. And they don't really like, just connecting with people on Zoom. They want to be out there. They want to be in the office. They want to be able to walk around and socialize by the water cooler or whatever. A lot of people thrive on that.
Correct. Absolutely. You are so spot on with that.
Yeah. And then, when you're lonely and you feel isolated, that starts to affect your physical health, your mental health, and then inevitably it'll affect your physical health. And next thing you know, you're not as productive, and that just cascades down to less engagement in your job and not liking your job, and it becomes a problem for everyone because then the company doesn't succeed.
Right. Absolutely. That is so well said. And I couldn't agree with you more because
there was one thing, you know, the funny thing about remote working is that people think, well, if you're going to do remote working, you know, people are going to slack off. And one of the things that she touched on in this article was that research found that a lot of companies were actually kind of throwing in that extra meeting. And next thing you know, you're really working longer hours than what you were if you were working in the office, because there's no clear cut in at 9, leave at 5.
Right.
And so people, you know, they may have a project to do, and because it's kind of a little bit more laid back, they might find that they're working longer hours on that project, and they're not necessarily as productive as that they would be if they were in the office.
Right. Exactly.
Kind of spread it out throughout the whole day.
Correct. So we're just waiting on Miss Sandy to join us, and hopefully she'll join us here soon. I see Steven is here, but we're having some connection issues evidently because he's saying that his devices are not connected. So Steven, if you hear us, and Sandy, if you hear us, you may want to end up either restarting your computer or browser and see if that might work.
So how's the weather down there, Chris?
Oh, it's good. This
is the meet and greet section, you know, so we could talk about anything.
That we can. I just had a great day today because yesterday was National Taco Day, and we didn't do hardly any tacos.
Really?
Yes, we had a goal at the place that I work at Fuzzy's, and we were supposed to hit a goal of $8,000. We only did 6.
Oh wow! Well, that's okay. I forgot that it was International Taco Day. I would have done a post about that. I didn't even see it on social media. Of course.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's head was cut off when Facebook and Instagram went down yesterday. They didn't know what to do, you know.
All right. Thank you, Steven. Yeah, like I said, if that's what you got to do, no worries. We'll love to have you on and everything. And apologize for the technical difficulties because I'm not a tech guru, so that's not my forte.
Yeah, that's really weird that it won't connect.
I don't know. I really don't know. Like I said, Sandy had an issue, and like I said, I copied the link. So
yeah, I sent it to her, and she's on LinkedIn. So her little
well, see, like I said, I made a boo boo. When I went into the studio, I went into Humanity Happy Hour, sent Sandy and the team the happy hour link when I thought it was Sharing Cares with Sandy. And there is Steven.
But 3 times in my events.
Yeah. Hello, Steven.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I made it. I finally figured it out.
What'd you do? Turn it off and turn it on again?
Oh yeah, you know.
That always works.
I was sitting there looking at myself on the camera trying to get in, and then I realized, well, I gotta shut the camera off so this thing can take over.
So, yeah.
If I get the camera straight, I'll be all right.
Well, you know, for the longest time, I'd get on calls, and for some reason, my camera wouldn't work. And it was because I had actually hit the function 8 key, and it turns off your camera. So,
wow.
After several times that I inadvertently did that, my son taught me, he's in IT, he taught me that. He goes, stop calling me for your damn camera. Okay. I love you, honey.
Yeah.
So hopefully Miss Sandy will be on here shortly, and maybe that might be something going on with her the same way, that maybe it just might be a camera issue. So
I'm going to give her a quick text real quick.
Okay. So Steven, how you been doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. Been doing a lot of studying lately. And
I've been seeing you've been doing a lot of John C. Maxwell, sir.
Yeah, I've been doing John for a long time. I've been going back through all of my favorite books of his. And
Nice.
my most favorite book is Today Matters, and then his one-on-one books.
Yes.
Those help me while I'm not working right now. Keeps me gets me ready for when I get to go back. So.
Well, we're glad that you're a part of our organization here at Bringing Humanity Together, Stephen. It's just such an honor and a privilege to get to have you on board. And you see the vision, you know the purpose, and you know the cause. And it's like what I'm telling people every day. It's not a matter of when are we going to get big. It's only going to be a matter of when people are going to be on board and when that happens. Like I said, the if factor is not the of relevance to us. It's the really, it's going to be when it happens. It's not the if. And I truly believe, like I said, between Carla, you, Sandy, Sarah, and so many other different people from around the world who really get this, that humanity can be in balance with today's business world, that we really working in a cohesive, natural state balance. There's nothing that we cannot achieve or do, not only from our individual standpoint, but from a true community, which is unity standpoint, that we can say, hey, we're bringing humanity together. We're locking arms here at the table of humanity. And how can I help and serve you? And just go back down to that simple mission statement that we have here, which is, if I help you, you help me, then we help we.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. And I really identified with everything that's been said, and posted, and I appreciate y'all being here, and I'm really excited about volunteering and helping.
And there is Miss Sandy. We have her on audio but not video. Hello, Sandy.
Way better. Yeah, get the camera.
Well, there she goes.
Get in the camera. I'm in the camera. You're not in the camera.
Oh, how you doing?
I got interrupted here.
And
this is my boy. He wants to be on TV, as you can see.
Hey, Sunshine, how are you?
Somebody said hello.
You gonna talk?
Hello.
You can make your debut here. Oh, look at those pretty earrings.
Yeah. These are earbuds, buds or whatever.
I can't believe we lost Chris too.
Yeah, no.
So where are you from, Stephen?
We in Arkansas.
You're in Arkansas?
Arkansas, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My parents grew up in Tulsa, in McAllister, Oklahoma, and my grandparents lived in Fort Smith.
Yep. I'm on the opposite side, all the way over by
Memphis?
Memphis. Yep.
Yep.
Memphis is like a little hometown.
Yeah, I went to Memphis 2 years ago. Visit a friend of mine that she lived in France when I lived in France, and we met after she was in the United States as an exchange student for 2 years. We met in 1985, and she came back to the States and visited her host family in Memphis, and I drove over to visit her. Yay!
I'm sorry, my laptop died. It went kaput, so it's happening everywhere. Hello, Miss Sandy.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Carla. Hi, Stephen. How are you?
I'm great. Hi, Sandy. How you doing?
Good. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, finally.
What did you do to manage to get on?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes this doesn't work, Chris. I don't know why. I mean, I just have no idea.
Yeah.
Well, as you said, sometimes technology works and sometimes technology doesn't. And when it works well.
When it doesn't, it really screws stuff up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. And you just want to throw it out the window. It's so annoying.
I know it. So, Miss Sandy, I would like to talk to our great listening and watching audience today
About the stress thing.
About tips to manage the stress of your remote team today. I just read the first little bullet points that you had in here, and I really loved it. It's about lack of social interaction, work-life balance, too many distractions. So I'll turn it over to you and say, how can we have better remote teams and bring that humanity factor even into our remote world? How do we do that?
The only way we can do that, Chris, is if we have regular Zoom meetings or some other platform so that people can still talk to each other and exchange ideas and feel like they're connected, particularly if we're working on a project and we want to consult our colleagues. It's important that the manager arrange, meetings at least a few times a week so that people can talk and, so on and so forth. Because otherwise you feel very disconnected because you're working at home. And of course, it is a problem at home, especially if you have kids, because, the kids are distracting, and especially if they're not in school. And in some cases, depending on where you live, the kids are being homeschooled now or doing it remotely. So it's very distracting.
Or they may not be old enough to go to school.
Well, that's also true, Carla.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, they're definitely distracting.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I have anything against little kids, because I don't, but it's a matter of how do you get your work done. And it is much more difficult unless you have a place that you can go where you can actually close the door and, get your work done to close out the distractions. But otherwise, people might ring your doorbell, or you hear your mail arrive, or your telephone rings, or, it's different things that can interrupt your focus on what you're trying to do for work. And that's why it's kind of hard. I know that a lot of people have adjusted to it, and what they like about it is they don't have to commute to the office and, all those kinds of things. So that sort of saves time, and it also saves money. We're not using our cars or local transit, whatever it is. But there are all these little issues in terms of getting your work done at home and not being able to share information easily with your colleagues. And it is important, depending on what you do. I mean, for you and me, Carla, with the jobs that we had, there was no way we could do it at home. So, it's just a matter of, I can't.
Yeah, but there's still a lot. In fact, I was just on LinkedIn with messaging with a girl out of South Carolina, and she is doing job searches for remote workers for healthcare. And I said, I bet you're familiar, but there are a lot of different things that that nurses can actually do from home, unless you're in a position where you're doing patient care.
Well,
there's insurance stuff. There's prior authorizations. There's medication prior authorizations. Infertility. If it was easy for the medical assistants to actually run the floor. If a physician wanted to see patients in the morning and then, see new patients, and if they're in the office, then a medical assistant can give them a folder of information or whatever. And a lot of the logistics of getting them set up for testing and treatment and stuff like that, you could easily do that remotely. In fact, when the fertility world was hit by COVID, and they weren't doing any cases, they weren't doing any treatment cases, they were doing a lot of consults and answering questions and managing cycles and things like that from home. We're working from home.
I can't clean someone's teeth from home, Carla.
Yeah. But then you can't do that.
No, I can't clean their teeth from home. So, it's just a matter of, it really depends on what your job is. I mean, there's, for example, there's a lot of lawyers who work from home, because if they've got all their files on their computer and they can access, stuff, then they can, because it's mostly documentation, and they can talk to their clients on the phone or have a Zoom call of some sort. So, they can do a lot of work. But in dentistry, it's, you really can't. No. I mean, you can't do the work from home. And I think that, a lot of doctors are not seeing patients very much right now. I've had a number of in fact, I have one next week. I have a phone appointment with my GP. But there were a couple of incidents that I was experiencing, and I actually went into the office and saw him. So he does see patients, but it's mostly phone appointments now. And that's, it's good and it's bad. I mean, when I went in to see him, I said, gee, it's really nice to see you. I haven't seen you for a long time in person.
He didn't say I see him on Skype all the time.
He laughed.
Like,
He laughed. He thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But, but I needed him to look at something, Carla. And so I needed to go into the office for him to check it personally.
Yeah. Telehealth only goes so far.
Yeah. And then, he sent me to an ENT guy, and he also had to look at me. And so, I went to his office, and I've been there a couple of times. And, it's just a matter of certain jobs just can't be done remotely.
Yeah.
Most office jobs, it can be done. It's just a matter of, but the manager, as I said, what they have to do to make people more comfortable, particularly when we're working on a project together, is you have to have regular meetings so that people can discuss things and see each other and talk about maybe some problem with their part of the project or whatever. But if that's not happening, then people just feel really isolated, and they feel that they haven't got the support that they need. And that can be stressful. And of course, in this pandemic, the last thing we need is more stress. So it's a matter of figuring out how to make people more comfortable. I mean, if you have something that just you need to do and you know how to do it and you're fine doing it on your own, then it's not a problem. But it just depends what you do and what you are doing currently, or what the office is doing currently, in terms of if it's supposed to be collaborative work or if you're working with a partner or whatever. So it just depends. And it is up to the manager to make sure that these meetings occur, and they have to organize it and set it up. And they need to do it on a pretty regular basis, I would think, because otherwise, again, people feel very isolated.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like the idea of, in a volunteer group I'm in, that before we all volunteer for the few hours that we volunteer at our church, we have a team huddle. Okay, well, what we do, like I belong to a book club, and we do the book club meetings on Zoom. Yeah. Somebody does the report, and we ask questions and whatever else. I mean, it's not as much fun as being in person, but it's not bad. No. And it's a matter of we can still get together. The last meeting we had, we actually went to somebody's house.
Oh, nice.
That's nice. Yeah. I remember that.
That was the first time in a long time that we'd all gotten together in person. So, we all wear masks, and we're all double vaccinated. And, Zoom
is great for being able to get together, even like this, because we have Sarah from the UK, and we're from all over the United States, and you're in Canada. And without this great technology, we wouldn't be able to connect and spread our vision and our mission to other people.
Exactly.
And it's really been, while it's not 100%, it certainly beats nothing, because look what happened to the world yesterday when Facebook and Instagram,
I know, wasn't that funny?
People had thought that they had cut their head off.
I thought it was hysterical.
It was, and I was thinking, well, business is like, oh my God, how am I going to sell products? How am I going to get clients? Hello, you call them on the phone, you do belly to you get in your car, go visit them.
Exactly. Well, and I agree that, especially with this pandemic, if we didn't have the technology that we have today, this whole situation would be a whole lot worse.
Imagine what our economy would be like without technology.
I told you, I terribly miss my grandsons, because they're in Toronto, which is on the entirely other side of the continent. And the only way we get to see them is because we Skype every week. And I told you, I said to the younger one a few months ago, I said, Sam, we haven't seen you for almost 2 years. And he looks at me and he goes, we see you every Sunday on Skype. And I said,
that's amazing.
That's true, but it's not quite the same. I don't get my hugs. I don't get to do things with you. And I miss you. He says, I miss you too. It's very cute. But it's just, it's nice to be able to at least see them and have a conversation with them. But it's not the same as being in person. I really miss the boys, because I really like doing things with them. Yeah. And one of the things we always do is we bake together, and we I go biking with them. I take them to mini golf. I take them out for lunch. I take them to a movie. I do all kinds of things with them when I'm in Toronto, and I miss spending time with them. So right now, my sister-in-law.
There's a big difference between being on social media or being on technology like this, and even before the pandemic, in the group that I'm in, the organization I'm in, we're together at least once a week, if not more often, and it's always great to see people and see what they're up to and share stories and whatever. But we really look forward to events, whether they be local or national, to really get together one-on-one and interact with people and not just an image on the screen.
Exactly.
It makes sense. I mean, we look forward to it.
Seriously, Carla, I mean, human beings are very social creatures. And this, inability to be with our friends and our family face to face. I'm not talking about this kind of face to face. I'm talking about actually in person being with them is really difficult. Like yesterday, we went over to my sister-in-law's place. She lives in the same complex that I do. And Sylvia's really not doing well, and I'm very, very worried about her. And so when we Skyped with Mark and Kim and the boys on Sunday, I told Mark, and he says, well, should I come? And I said, well, let's see. I said, she's home now, and she's seeing her doctor actually today. And then she's going to be seeing a cardiologist because she's got a leaky valve and, some other things that are going on. But I said, if things get worse, I'm sure she'd love to see you. So when I saw her yesterday, she said, Mark wants to come and visit. Well, what a sweetie. How nice. Like she was very touched that he felt he wanted to come and see her. Well, she's his favorite aunt. And so if Sylvia's, and she's 92 years old, and if something happened and he didn't get to see her, he'd feel terrible. So, I told him, well, I'll let you know. And if you want to come next week, he says, well, I can't come till after Thanksgiving. I said, well, that's fine. If you want to come, after Thanksgiving, then you can come here for a few days and you can see your parents.
Thanksgiving's next week, right?
Yeah, well, he'll stay with us.
Your Thanksgiving's next week, right?
Yeah.
So
it's just, I'm gonna pick one up on the weekend, Carla. So it's just a matter of we haven't seen Mark for a long time. I really, I miss my son too. It's just, it's really hard. Fortunately, my daughter's here in town and we do see her. But, and because my sister-in-law lives so close by, she's in our bubble and, we've been seeing her. But, we don't see very many of our friends. We have gone out to dinner lately with a couple of people, but they were all, fully vaccinated. And, we went to the restaurant we went to with a couple the other night. The ceilings went with Yale's cousin and her husband. And the ceilings are like, 40 feet high, and they got big fans, and they've got plexi dividers between every booth. And, the restaurant was busy, but we didn't feel uncomfortable in the restaurant. And it was nice to see them because we haven't seen them for a long time.
Yeah.
And they're fully vaccinated. But it's just, it's a matter of what are you doing? And I told you that sometimes when Yale and I go for a walk, I take my phone. And if we go to a neighborhood where a friend, we walk by a house that belongs to a friend, I phone them. I say, hey, we're on the sidewalk in front of your house. Come out on your porch. We'll have a little visit, and they love it because they're not seeing anybody either. So it's really nice to have a little visit socially distanced like that. And a few friends that live in our neighborhood, we go for a walk, we phone them, and they sort of expect our call every now and again.
Yeah. Right. And my son lives 30 minutes from me, and I might see him a couple of times a month, and my daughter's in Zurich, and thank God for technology because on the weekend we can do a video.
Because at least you can have a little Skype or a Zoom call with her, and you can see her and talk to her, and and like I said, at least we see the boys and we see their dog. And when my daughter comes over for dinner, she brings her dog.
Oh, it's so sweet.
Bring Apple.
Exactly, Chris. And because Apple knows me, she gets very excited when she sees me. She's jumping up and down and sort of squeaking and everything. And Lisa looks at me and she goes, pick her up. I go, fine. I pick her up and she starts licking my face.
So
she loves you.
Yeah. So I want to bring Stephen into the conversation, and I want to get Stephen's take when it comes to remote work or basically any work they're in. How do you relieve stress, and how do you take that from your model of the world, Stephen? How do you adjust to that and stay in tune to what you believe in and why you do what you do? And how do you maneuver all that kind of navigation through your day to day?
Well, you know, we all want the relationships at work. You know, that's what I go for. When I first started working, I went for money. You know, I'm 30 something years into it now, and I go for the people. I go for relationships. I go because when I see people, I get picked up. My attitude becomes better, and everything. And I believe really what Sandy said earlier about frequent meetings. Maybe not the whole team. Maybe there's a schedule need to be made, for people to do one-on-ones and whatever you got to do to make it fit. And it's hard. This first time I got on here, I've been attempting to get on here for 2 weeks, and life is busy, even if when you're not working. I'm like, I'm finding stuff to do, so.
Guess what, guys? Next week, I'm actually doing a live workshop.
Yeah.
Live one, yeah. I'm going to a new client. It's called We work with handicapped people and people who need extra support. And I'm doing a workshop for active listening and accountability. So I'm going to do a half-day workshop today. It's going to be live. I'm going to have like 25 or 30 people in the room. They're all going to be wearing masks. They're all vaccinated because they have to be for the job. And they have a big training room, so we'll be socially distanced. But I'm excited about it because I haven't done a live workshop for almost 2 years now.
It'd be good to see people again, huh?
Well, I agree, Carla. I've got to drive to a suburb. It's in Vernon. So I got to drive to a suburb, but I'm looking forward to it because I really, as I've told you before, I really prefer the live sessions. When you're doing, sometimes people don't even turn their webcams on. You have no idea what they're doing. And I like to see the person's face so I can see if they're understanding things or if they're looking confused. Yeah. So I really like to see the faces. And when it's live, I can't. And when it's a webinar, you just don't know, whether they're actually there or what the heck they're doing or anything else on top of which it's much more difficult to make a webinar interactive because of course people aren't together. So I've done a couple of things that, if the platform has breakout rooms, that they can go into the breakout rooms and do a little exercise. But you see, for this session that I'm doing, we're going to start with a game, and I'm going to bring prizes. It's the definition of active learning, so they're active listening. So they're going to number off, and each team's going to get an envelope full of colored Post-it notes, and the instructions are take out all the colored Post-it notes and make a sentence that defines active listening. And the first team to get it correct will get prizes. So then they know very specifically what we're going to be talking about for the next couple of hours. And, it's fun. But I have a number of exercises, and because the woman I'm dealing with is HR, she sent me some scenarios that they struggled with. And so after I teach them some new strategies, then again we'll put them back in their groups, and each group will get a hard copy scenario. And when I bring it up on the PowerPoint, I'll say, okay, which group has this? Okay, so who's the spokesperson for your group? Tell us how you resolve this issue. And then what I always do with those things, what I always say, does anybody else want to contribute to this? Any other comments that people want to make? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I don't really care, but I like to offer it up to them. And then, we'll do the next one. So I have 5 scenarios. And I also have a couple of other exercises. When I teach them active listening, then I want them to pair up and practice. And then, we debrief it. So when you were the listener, did you interrupt and do things, or did you actually focus and listen? And when you were the speaker, did you feel that you were respectfully listened to, And I have a number of exercises and that I want them to do. It's the same thing with accountability. I've got some things that I want them to do. I want them to come up with disappointment situations and, other situations, and how would you resolve them? So in their groups, they can do that. And then they debrief it back to the whole group. So there are a number of things that, will get them interactive. And she was very excited about that. She thought that, cute little boy, she thought that it would be nice for them to, she was very excited that I was going to make it interactive and, have all these different exercises.
Nice.
Cute kid. He's very cute, Stephen.
Yeah. So we're gonna play the guessing game yet again, and we're gonna guess who actually said this. Interesting how people's behaviors are 100% correlated to how situations occur to them. Now, who said that?
That's a good question. Brian?
That would be correct.
That's a Brianism.
Yep, that is. I've already
Sounds like a Brianism.
Brian, your Brianism is caught on. So, Brian, please join us. And Graham is even interacting today. He's actually watching us live.
Okay, Graham, here's your opportunity.
Come on, Graham. Let's see
Graham.
Come on, join us. We'd love to see you.
Come on, I got that gift card for Texas Roadhouse for Chris. Wait, gotta get on live. Come on, Chris needs a date night. Come on, Graham.
I don't know if they have a Texas Roadhouse over in the UK or not. That'd be kind of hard to do.
I miss those guys.
The channel is real, Graham. Come on. It's been way too long since you've been on a call.
Exactly.
Right.
We like them on the call.
Right. But I love when he
never
said
say anything. Except hello.
Yeah, there you go.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I think that, again, the stress issue in a lot of businesses now, particularly because most of them are not gathering in their office, it's hard for people. It really is, because one of the things that was good about going to work was seeing your colleagues. And now, everybody being at home, it's much more difficult, and it's just, you feel isolated. And, when you're feeling isolated and you're feeling like you're not getting the help that you might need, whatever, it stresses you out.
Well, do teams organize like morning coffee sessions or mid-morning or afternoon breaks to where they can get together like this and socialize?
Well, but I think also having the opportunity, particularly Carla, if they're working on something and everybody's working on it, then having the opportunity to share what's going on, and especially if somebody's having a little trouble with their aspect of the project, then to have the opportunity to talk to their colleagues about it and say, I'm struggling a little bit with this. Anybody have any ideas on how, I can get over this hump, whatever. And because if you're at the office, you would do that. But when you're at home, it's kind of harder. And that's why people get stressed out, because
I have to ask my son, because he does a lot of network stuff with companies. I wonder, is there a way that there's like a corporate network that if you want, like, say you and I were working together, Sandy, and I had a question for you, and I wanted to do a quick video call with you. Is there technology to where you could just connect on a video call with just you, for example? Because
you can do it on Skype, but you can do it. You can do it on Zoom, but you can do it on Skype.
Well, just having like, is there something that's integrated into like the corporate infrastructure, their network, their inner network, where they use Zoom?
Some companies use different platforms.
Set up a Zoom account outside of their
Messenger.com
website.
Some companies use different platforms, like BCIT, which is the BCI Institute of Technology that I've taught at for years, and I've done a lot of PD days for them. They use a different platform, and the platform they use has breakout rooms that they can talk to each other in. So, even doing a webinar, it wasn't too bad, and they actually enjoyed it, because I had about a half a dozen people stay after this webinar was over and saying, thank you, this was really good. I like the information, blah, blah, blah. But of course, also, as you know, the other thing I do is I make a fully documented syllabus, and that was sent to the guy who organizes the PD days. And these people got their syllabus before the session started. So they've actually got a takeaway.
Right.
Yeah.
I can imagine how time consuming it would be if you're working on a project and you ended up having to email back and forth with somebody, because you might put the question out there to them and then forget to look for a response and get into doing something else. And then it could take you all day to kind of figure something out.
It could.
Right.
And whereas you can just hop on a video with one another, that was built into, like, we had a network of all of our satellite offices, and they were all connected, and we had email and we had where we could go into our charting software and the lab information and all that kind of stuff. Where
you guys can compare notes.
Similar to this, that hey Sandy, let's jump on a Zoom together without having to go, oh, I don't have Zoom downloaded on my laptop. Let me go set up an account. This is something set up by the organization to allow each person to connect with one another by video, as opposed to.
Yeah. And remember the days of when the internet was in its infancy, and Stephen just brought that up. It's about Messenger. Remember AIM Messenger?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, AOL Messenger?
Yes. Just think about that. A lot of companies did use that at the time when that was happening, that you would actually have your own. Because I remember when I worked at our call center, we actually had our own internal AIM Messenger internally. So when we wanted to chat with somebody, let's say in human resources or in
AIM, I don't remember that.
Yeah, AIM. Yep, that's American Online. You remember you used to hear the dial up, you could be able to hear all that funky stuff.
Yeah.
That was American Online. And you actually had to do things, and I remember the Windows server was on Windows 2000.
And it was like a call?
No. It was done to a modem, but you could hear it dialing out like you would a fax.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well,
there's so many ways to connect now. It's there's no reason. I haven't had the remote work, so I don't know what they use. So I could believe they're using FaceTime, Facebook, LinkedIn, Zoom, whatever they can find. Well, people just got it on their phone, dialing that thing in,
Yeah.
And you got to be able to do it on your phone, because that's well, people like me. I might be in a boat, I don't know. I'm gonna be somewhere. It's hard for me to sit down at a desktop and do anything.
Right, but see,
I get distracted.
Right. But see, Stephen, that is why I truly believe you create the environment that will create a better result. And you go to them and you meet them where they're at. So let's say from a company standpoint, you might be on your phone, Stephen, and you work great on your phone, but you don't have necessarily the laptop. Well, maybe if there is an app that you can use from the organization, you click on it, you get your phone, you click on the app, and then, hey, I'm doing work right from my phone. And see, you're not losing any momentum and you're not losing any ground, because you're integrated with the network or the community or department that you're there doing what you got to do. It's just like, remember what Lisa said when it comes to the hybrid work model, about being able to have people go and make that choice and say, hey, I'm going to go in the office for 2 days a week and work at home 3 days a week, or whatever that might be. If we can give those people the freedom and let them do that in such a way that works with that work-life balance, that really can integrate their life on whether to be doing work from an email standpoint, and they're going to grocery shopping and I just got an email, oh, have you got this proposal done? Yep, got. And you can get two things done at once. But see, I believe, like I said, if you go meet them where they're at and understand where they're coming from and what works best for them, there's nothing that we cannot achieve, not only in a business dynamic, but from the human dynamic.
Well, I think it's coming, but I think just switching from being in the office to being in a remote location and working and actually seeing that it works was a huge step towards letting go of control by management. And so, I don't think we're to the point yet to where you can actually go to the grocery store and stand in line at Walmart and actually answer an email. I can do it from what I do, but it's not corporate wide. I don't know if they're ready for that.
I love this one.
I mean, I would say that we probably, the best thing that ever came out of COVID was that it actually opened up the work from home world.
And let's play it again. Who said this? The best environment is in the sporting environment, networking through sport.
That's Graham. That's Graham.
It's like on the golf course.
That's definitely Graham, because Graham's got
That is a Graham. He just said that. The best environment is the sporting environment, networking through sport. And see, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, Graham just brought up something really good. Because from the sports realm, if you really are passionate about what you do and why you do it, especially in the world of sports, you can get better connected. But I even dare to say, even in a traditional business setting, or I want to say untraditional business setting, because that's what we're going to do here, is do something better and do something different here and bring humanity together. But if we can get to those people in such a way that goes to their mission, passion, and purpose, even in a work dynamic that is work. But how do we make it more inviting to them, more engaging for them? How do we do that? Maybe sports can do that. Maybe you have a team softball team. Maybe you have a team volleyball team. Maybe you have a team golf team. Carla's going to be doing happy hour after the tournament. There you go. And I believe if you can kind of create that dynamic, that you do bring some things in that caters to, I won't say everyone, but caters to enough people that they get engaged. Why the organization is engaging them on their level. If that means you take them to a ball game, you take them to a concert, whatever that might be. I think that's another.
Years ago, they used to have softball games after work, or people would get together and play golf, or they would, get together and go do happy hour together, or go to a ball game or something like that. But now it depends on the people that are working in your work environment. A lot of people have family responsibilities to where they can't just say, okay, at 5 o'clock, I'm going to go out for happy hour with the team. And sadly, there's some organizations it's almost like it's shunned because you can't do that. Well, hey, we don't really feel like you're part of a team, the team and a team player because you never attend any of the happy hours. Well, heck, I got a family to feed at home. I got kids to take care of and homework to do with them and whatever. And that's not right either. So, I used to do things after work. They would have lunch events and different things like that. And there were a lot of people that couldn't attend because they had maybe half an hour to an hour drive home. And then they had family, they had kids, they had to get to activities and whatnot. And a lot of them were like continuing education things. So we had actually talked to management about turning them into lunches. And number one, it cut down on people having to drive into town at 5 o'clock in the afternoon to get somewhere by 6. And so you do it for lunch, you do it during the workday, you cater in lunch to each one of the satellite offices, and then you do it remotely like this. And then that way, the people that have kids that can't attend for continuing education units or whatever, or even enjoy a nice dinner or a nice meal, they can actually enjoy it during the course of the workday. And it made it a win-win for everybody. You got a lot more engagement out of those people that felt like they were part of a team because they couldn't necessarily go out at the end of the day. They felt like, finally, I get to do something, you know?
Well, we used to have our staff meetings at lunchtime, Carla.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes they would bring in lunch, but most of us brought our lunches. So, you know, we would just sit in the office and we would have our meeting while we had our lunch.
Mm-hmm.
But we used to do things, but they were scheduled.
Yeah.
So, you know, if it was something scheduled, you could make arrangemements for something to happen at home. Like, you know, somebody else could babysit or somebody else could come in.
Well,
and
we had them quite frequently, and so there were a lot of people that couldn't make
we
it.
we didn't have it frequently. We did it like 2 or 3 or 4 times a year that we would.
Oh yeah. Oh no, they were doing something like once a month, if not more often. It was like
We
every day.
didn't do it that often, so
Yeah.
people could schedule it in. So, you know, like if we went and played baseball and went out for dinner, or I told you one year we went whitewater rafting, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, and we always had a Christmas.
Those are like outside activities, and yeah, we did those too.
Well,
I
the only
remember
thing
where I worked before,
Yeah.
they used to do monthly staff meetings, and they wanted us all to drive in from the satellite offices to the main office. So we were expected to leave at 12 to get there by 12:30 to finish up hopefully by 2:30 to get back to the office and get through all the phone calls that came in while we were gone and traveling, and then supposedly leave on time, which never happened. And it invariably worked out that the physician who we were working with was seeing patients in the morning. They were running late, so we couldn't leave at 12 to get there by 12:30 to meet till 1:30 or 2. And then they said, "Oh, well, you can use the computers down here at the main office." Well, everybody was assigned to a computer, so there was no computers for anybody.
Yeah.
So it's like, tie my hands behind my back. How do you expect me to get my job done? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And then when you go back, it would take you 45 minutes to an hour to drive back because afternoon traffic started earlier. And I'm going, why are we not doing these meetings remotely? Yes, it's great to see everybody's face. But if you want people to be productive and not stressed out because they can't get their work done to leave on time, you need to be doing them remotely. And they finally get it done. It took forever.
What this is what Brian just said here, and this is what he replied to Graham on. You don't have to alter what you know; you alter the way you know it, and that is brilliant. I agree with that. Just alter the way you know it.
It's doing things in a different way, Chris,
Yes.
and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, that's all part of the growing and learning aspect of our lives, and especially with technology today, you got to get used to the different stuff and how to use it and how to benefit from it and so on and so forth. Because, I mean, back in the day, we would have a monthly staff meeting, and as I said, we'd have it at lunchtime. But we would get together and do things outside the office, but those were scheduled. And one of the things that we did for continuing ed, Carla, I told you this, my dad would take us at least once a year, but sometimes twice a year, out of town to a conference or, you know, whatever. And he'd pick up the whole bill, you know, for everybody. And sometimes we would drive there, but sometimes, you know, we would get on a plane and go. It depended where it was. But it was fun to go together to a conference and whatever. And of course, they have the big conferences in Vancouver. And it's huge. They have between 12 and 15,000 people at the annual dental conference in Vancouver. And people from all over North America come because it's such a good conference. And the whole office used to go. You know, the whole office would go. And it's a 3-day conference at a convention center in downtown Vancouver. And again, the bosses used to pay for it because they could write it off.
Right.
And we couldn't. So they would pick up the tab. And some, you know, we didn't all go to the same workshops. So again, when we had a staff meeting after that, people would share what they picked up at the different workshops that they went to.
Right.
It was a really good way to deal with these things and to share information and to do stuff together as an office. And, you know, again, but it just depends on how often you're doing these things and how convenient it is for the people. Again, depending on what your job is, whether or not, it works. So it's just a matter of figuring these things out. And the reason they did the staff meetings the way they did is because, just like you said, Carla, people don't want to stay after work for a staff meeting.
No.
They really don't. So
Well, it's stressful traveling back and forth too.
I agree.
And then people are invariably late, and then it doesn't start on time, and that just kind of bleeds in and just literally kills the whole afternoon.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you have to, leave at a certain time to go get your kids somewhere or whatever, it's just like, you got to do something. Something's got to give. And that's stressful.
Well, and we were all tied to our schedule because, we had appointments. And, for me, they were either on the hour, or if I had a kid, it was a half-hour appointment.
Yeah.
Every adult had an hour. And, your day is set up, so you can't exactly play around with that. No, you've got to be there.
So, Stephen, I want to ask you something here, sir. In the many years that you've been working, how do you see a better way for businesses today, especially whether to be in a physical environment or a remote environment or a hybrid environment? How can we relieve stress and get in touch with people and meet people where they are? How do we do that and achieve that to create better environments that will create better results?
Well, most of my experience is has not been in. I've worked in offices, of course, but most of my experience has been on factory floors, and and I've worked in places where I started my career that you didn't know who the boss was. You never saw him. You didn't know what was going on. So communication about transparency about the business. Communication about what's really going on in the business, and offering different where all the managers lose those titles and become stewards, and become teachers and mentors, and that's where it starts. Because managing is the thing. It's a it. It's not it's something you do. It's not who you are. And so we in the past, I've made all the mistakes that you can make in leading. Being I guess the patriarchal style of leadership done that in there. And it's still, built into all of us in our subconscious, and especially, us guys that, that are a little over, 50 or over. So there's a lot for people to learn, and I believe that, I'm working on getting a new position right now at a facility, and I'm interviewing for it and going through the process, and I have some values that I have to share with them about stewardship and partnering and just different ways to engage employees and make them owners of positions. And because there's so many companies across the United States and the world that, it's people will sit back and make you tell them what to do if you allow that to happen. And but most of them, they don't want to see you. They don't want you to tell them what to do, but they'll let you do it.
I love what Sandy says in one of her articles that I think we're going to touch on tomorrow. The opening line being that a lot of people, employees, leave their brains and their hearts at the door. That they feel like, okay, just tell me what I need to do. You know, they don't feel like they have any engagement or any decision-making abilities in what they're doing. They're just there to do their job. And I run into so many people that, you know, like Stephen said, your job is not who you are. It's what you do. And I've had friends of mine that are like, you know, that they're looking for nursing jobs and they say that there's not really anything. And well, what do you want to do? What is your passion? What would you want to do if you weren't doing this, you know? And they say, oh, I don't know. All I know is nursing. I don't know anything else. And I'm like, you know, that's kind of sad that you've been so on the, you know, on that ride for so long, you don't know who you are outside of your 9 to 5 or your 12-hour shift.
Yeah, I'm sort of sad.
That you really need to discover who you are. I have a friend in Delaware who is working on transitioning her license from New York to Delaware, and she's like knowing what she wants to do. And I said, you know, there's this opportunity now that you're not working and waiting on them to transfer your license to figure out who you are outside of nursing and outside of a 12-hour day. Figure out who you are. If somebody said, who are you? And you could say something other than, I've been a nurse for 40 years. I find myself telling people that when they say, oh, tell me what you do. And I tend to start off with, I've been a nurse for 40 years, but this is what I'm doing now. And because it does tend to identify you, but it's not who I am.
Yeah, and I love that, Carla, because number one, our past doesn't define us. It creates and starts the journey that's a path that's laid before us. But also, what defines us, I truly believe, is what we stand for and what we believe in and what we're called to do. And whatever that might be for us, whether it be about bringing humanity together, working in an office dynamic, working in a shelter, whatever that might be. If you've been called to do that and that is your mission, your passion, your purpose, then go for it. Don't let no one or anything hold you back to achieve your dreams, your passions, your goals, and your mission. And maybe somewhere along the way, you can bring someone along with you on that journey, or they might fall into your journey that turns out to be not only their journey that you could be on, but is on your journey, but then it turns into our journey.
Mm-hmm.
And the story of humanity, I truly believe, ladies and gentlemen, needs to be heard and needs to be told, because our journey is uniquely different to everyone else, but there's that connectedness that unites us. And it's that very humanity that really is the common bond that unites everything and everyone. Because once we understand that and understand our place and space, whether it be life, whether it be at work, whether it be whatever that might be for us, once we understand that that's who we are, number one, no one can take that away from us.
Well, we're all in a journey of life.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us are working and some of us aren't. But sadly, whether it be the corporate world, whether it be nursing, whether it be healthcare, our positions tend to divide us. Like, I'm just an administrative assistant, or I'm just a manager. I'm not a director. I'm not a CFO, a CEO. I'm just a medical assistant. I'm just a RN. I don't have a master's degree and I don't have a doctorate degree. I mean, I just told a friend of mine today, she said, I just don't have the degrees you have. And I said, the only reason why the degrees I did was to be able to do what I wanted to do at the time. Between those two degrees, I could have paid my house off. Okay. And I said, you know what? And that's not to disparage any of the people in higher education or anything, but it was a matter of learning skills and the science behind it. And anybody can learn that. I just happen to have to pay $45,000 to do that, you know, but we all tend to be so divided, you know, in dentistry. I'm just a receptionist. I'm just the hygienist. I'm the dental assistant. I'm the dentist, you know, it's like this this hierarchy. We're all in this together. We need to unite as a team and work together, no matter what you're doing, to help each other out.
Well, that's what
We're all on a journey.
that's what teamwork's all about, Carla. I mean, if we're all helping each other and we're not working together, it's not a team. You know, it needs to be collaborative. It needs to be helpful. It needs to be kind. You know, it's a matter of how's the team working?
Yeah.
And, you know, in a dental office, you're a team. The team leader is usually the dentist. But it's interesting that often the receptionist is the team leader because she's the one who knows what's going on in every operatory.
and knows what everybody's doing.
Well, and we always had a morning huddle before the day started so that everybody was clear on who was, you know, connecting with what. And, you know, if the dentist was seeing the patient after I cleaned their teeth, so I wouldn't put the fluoride on. So the assistant would do that when they were done, because otherwise if they're putting water on it, they wash it off. So, so you have to know what's going on in the office so that you know what procedures are going to, you know, not be negated by something else. And it's just a matter of having that quick. It wasn't a very long meeting. It was maybe 10 minutes max. And also, you know, if somebody was coming in who had something happen in their life, the receptionist knows, so she would tell you, and then you could, you know, say something to the patient about it. But it's just a matter of, you know, how do you set it up? And because in the dental office, it is definitely a team. There's just no way around it. Then it's a matter of helping. And I said, you know, if somebody has a cancellation, what are you going to do? Go in the back and twiddle your thumbs? That's pretty boring. So, you know, you go in the front office. Can I help you? Do you need phone calls made? Do you need charts pulled? Do you need charts filed? Or you ask somebody else, do you need some help? You know, do you want some assistance on this procedure? Or you go into the storage room and see if there are supplies that need to be ordered. I mean, there are just so many things that can be done. And so it's better to be cross-trained and to have an idea of what's going on and to ask people if they need a hand with anything. And that's what team players do.
Yeah. We all put our pants on one leg at a time. And so we're all in this together. Some people have more expertise. Some people have been there longer and they know different things. I want to hit on this business. I know of a business where everyone has the same title. Is that Graham?
That is Graham.
Well, someone just said, who is that?
This is what Graham said. That's what Graham said.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, then everybody's on the level playing field.
Yeah.
And that in some ways can be much more comfortable because then, you know, we're all on the same level. We're all helping each other. We're all working together and whatever. But it's just a matter of how you look at it. And none of us in the office, we all knew everybody had their specific roles because of their job. But nobody was lower than the other person, you know, as far as because everybody's job was very important in order for the office to run appropriately. So, you know, you have to respect that and appreciate the contribution.
You know, there are medical assistants that have gone to school less than I have that know a lot of other areas more than I do, you know.
Right.
There are so many people that I have met that have gone into the role of physician assistant that have had far less schooling and education than a nurse with a master's or a doctorate. And it's a matter of what you're doing with your job. It doesn't, just because I have letters behind my name doesn't mean I'm smarter than anybody else. I'm always learning from everybody else, you know?
Well, a lot of it is based on experience.
Yeah.
So, you know, when people have had different kinds of experience, they bring to the table that ability from that experience. And that's why it's good to have people you know, with different experiences on your team. And that's why I said sometimes when you're having a team meeting, the leadership moves around the table because it depends what we're talking about. And there may be somebody at the table who has more expertise in that aspect of the project or whatever we're trying to do. And so they're going to take the lead at that time. It just, you know, it sometimes just moves around the table because of what we're doing.
Well, we do that every Monday on our Monday call. It's got so who's got more expertise in this or that or the other, and we share with each other.
Exactly.
There's no real hierarchy per se. We're all in this together.
See, that's the beauty of what Bringing Humanity Together is all about. We don't have titles here. There's no hierarchical structure. It's basically literally a round table of humanity that we are sitting at that same table because we're all doing our roles, knowing our purpose, knowing our missions, and taking that responsibility there within to say, I'm going to do X, X, and X. And if I can help out Carla with this, or I can help out Sandy with this, this is what needs to be done. But then again, we recognize that there are things that has to be done, and we have to be responsible for that and take ownership of that. But that could be from everybody. It's just like what John C. Maxwell says in his great book, The 360-Degree Leader. Everyone can be a leader if you choose to be so in everything.
Yeah.
So I just thought that's the way to go. So let's start our call to action, ladies. And I wish Stephen was here, but I guess he had to go. But let's start out with you, Carla. What would be your call to action today?
Oh, gosh. Don't make me go first. There's so many great things that we talked about today. Let's see, what would it be?
Cosmo might have an insight to that.
Oh, heck, he's asleep over here in the corner.
That lazy co-worker.
Yeah. I would say, here's what I think. When we're in the situation of working remotely and we're supposedly, in some respects, people think, okay, if this is supposed to be stressful, think of the positives of it. Yes, there's negatives to working in a remote situation, but think of the positives. Because for every negative, there's a positive. And it's how you start your day. If you start your day, all of us got to get online again and dang meetings and who's going to go on and on in the meeting. If you think of it in a positive aspect and think of, I have the opportunity to work from home. I have the opportunity to spend a few minutes during the course of the day with my kids, whatever your situation may be. I have the opportunity to not spend all this money on gas because I'm not driving into work and sitting in traffic. I'm not stressed because I'm driving into traffic. My commute is down the stairs, Think of the positives of all that. No, working online is not perfect. But at least you've got a job. And hopefully it's a job you like,
Or you love. Or like what Brian says, living the life that you love.
Well, I love my job.
Yeah. Yes.
I would call it a JOB.
Well, I think, again, Chris, going back to sort of where we started with, which was about stress. I think that if you enjoy what you do and you enjoy the people that you work with, being remotely working, I can see why, some people sort of get a little stressed, but because of the technology we have and the opportunities we have to still work together. And also in some situations, some offices let them come in a couple days a week or, whatever. But I think that it's all about attitude. The only thing in our lives we have total control over is our attitude. So if you wake up in the morning and say, yep, today's going to be a great day, it will be a great day. But if you wake up and go, oh, this is going to be a terrible day, it will definitely be a terrible day.
That's what you make of it.
Well, exactly. So it's all about how you approach things. And people who are positive are better problem solvers and just do things better because by and large, when they face some kind of challenge, they step back and they go, okay, what do I have to do now? And if they can't figure it out, they will ask for help. And there's nothing wrong. Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with asking for help if you can't figure it out yourself. But you have to be comfortable with the people that you work with in order to be able to do that. And I think that having stress deflecting strategies is very important, particularly today, but in general. And, the thing is that, again, positive people will probably have better strategies for doing that. But there are many things that you can do to deflect stress. And one of them is exercise. That's a
Amen.
yeah.
Amen.
But there are lots of different things that you can do that can help you to get through things. And it's just a matter of what is your attitude. And people who are positive are a lot easier to be around and a lot easier to help, and that you want to work with them and so on and so forth, than people who are negative. And I, to be honest with you, have very little patience for negativity. I really find it's depressing. And it's hard to be around negative people because it sort of drags you down. It's really not much fun. But being around positive people is much easier, and it helps you to get through things. And that's why, again, that's the one thing we have control over. So make it positive. And if you can, you will be able to deal with things that are going to cause you stress so that it won't cause you stress. It's just a matter of how you look at it. I mean, I've ended up in what I'm doing because I told you my son sort of dared me. But the thing is, because I have a degree in education, it wasn't a huge leap, in terms of changing what I was doing. Plus, I'd always been teaching. I taught in a dental hygiene program, and with a colleague, I told you, I started the first dental hygiene study club in Canada. Dentists had the study club, hygienists didn't. Now, there are lots of them, but
cool.
Back then, we ran it for 10 years, and we ran it in 2 locations. We ran it on the North Shore, and we ran it in Vancouver. And the girls, the hygienists that took part in it were very grateful because we had the opportunity to work together, and we always started it with a discussion, and then they brought patients in and they worked on their patients, and we would help them with the instrument selection and the angulation and the sharpening, and also how they dealt with their patients in terms of communication and different kinds of things. So we brought in all kinds of aspects of patient management. And it was good. It was fun. It was interesting. And we always had to have a dentist on site because you're not allowed to work you have to work under the supervision of a dentist. But they also were very interested in what we were doing and found it quite fascinating in terms of what we were actually accomplishing in this study club. So, for me, I love teaching. I just find it's very rewarding, and it's very interesting, and it's very challenging. I told people, I really enjoyed hygiene when I started in it. And when I left, I told people I don't miss cleaning teeth. What I miss is the people. I miss the patients, and I miss my colleagues, and I miss all of that. Cleaning teeth is a very difficult job for a whole host of reasons. But I used to like the challenge of that when I first started. But now, because I'm old and because I have a sore back and, much older.
You're not old, you're older.
Whatever, Carla. It's just a number, right? It's just a number.
Only a number, Sandy.
Yeah, but it's a matter of how you look at it. And, personally, I'm very physically fit. I work out about an hour every day. And because I believe it's very important to be fit because it gives you more energy, it gives you more focus. And I just feel better when I'm fit.
Immune system.
And the other thing, yes, exactly. And the other thing is that if you don't maintain that as you get older, it's very hard to get it back because it's just
once it's gone, it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah. So it's a matter of being active physically and mentally. Exactly, Carla. So it's very important to me to maintain that. And the other thing about doing something different now is that it has forced me to learn new things because and as I've said before, it's very important for our minds, for our brains to be doing that. And it has forced me to learn all kinds of things. And I continue to learn things because I always do research on the topics I'm teaching. And I'm always doing research to find new exercises to put into the programs. And I often meet with other trainers and we talk about what we're doing, and sometimes we exchange ideas and different kinds of things. And it's kind of fun. And
we need to start a soft skills club.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to offer that here, bringing humanity together. That's a great idea. I love it. We're going to do that.
The thing is, Chris, that it's just a matter of, what are you doing? And people who spend most of their life in a job that they hate, you have to feel sorry for them because basically that means they hate their life. And
or they say, I've got 2 more years to work before I retire.
Yeah.
That's misery. I'm sorry.
No
That's misery.
kidding. Well, and the other thing
I
is,
said, when are you retiring? He said, when I retire.
well,
No.
I've told this. My friends say to me all the time, "When are you going to stop doing this?" And I say, "Well, the morning I wake up and go, oh my God, I got to do another workshop. It's time to quit." But it's just a matter of what are you doing? Are you doing something that you enjoy? Are you having fun with it? Are you continuing to learn because of what you're doing? Then that's a good thing.
Yes.
And I enjoy it. I find that it's very challenging. It's very interesting.
And that is why that's why I love having you, Sandy, and Carla, and Sarah, and Steven, and Anno a part of this, because it's like I said, it's not a matter of if this is going to get big. It's only going to be when and who's on board, and that's it. Because see, we love what we do because we're passionate about what we do. We bring our vision and our mission internally as an organization to our internal way of who we are. Because if we live out the life that we love through the work that we do, then it never becomes work ever again.
Well, that's right. And again, Steve, and the thing is this, Chris, Carl and I both went into healthcare to help people.
We still do that.
Yeah. Well, now I'm just helping them in a different way because I'm helping them
Yep.
by teaching them soft skills, which makes them more successful in every aspect of their lives. So it's not healthcare, but it's human care. So it's something that works really well.
Human development.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I enjoy it because I've always liked helping people. I like to see people have their aha moment, and get it.
Exactly.
I love when the light bulb goes off.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
I know. It's fantastic.
Yes, they get
Yes. So my call to action, ladies, will be twofold. Number one, let's listen more to learn more to be able to lead more.
Yeah.
I truly believe in that. And then
Absolutely.
when it comes even to relating to stress or even leadership, let's create better environments that will create better results for everyone on the team. Everyone, more importantly, far more than anything else, let your customer and clients be the end result of that they can be able to say, hey, I liked Sandy today because you know what? She actually sent me a gift card for Starbucks, and I got that just out of the blue. Well, why did she do that? Because you're my favorite client. It's about those little things that add up to greater things, and I just truly believe in that. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching today and joining it. And Graham, you got to join the call, man. I got to get
Just do it once for Chris, so he can.
Please, at least one.
Yeah.
And of course, Brian, I love what you've been bringing to the table. I know you're probably doing two things at once with the mergers and acquisitions things that you do there at CDI. But man, you got to be on one of these calls again because we love you. We love what you bring into it. Sandy says, I want more Brian. I want more Graham. Bring them in, So we greatly appreciate you guys so much today. It was greatly insightful. And tomorrow what we'll be talking about is the other great article from our great partner here, Sandy Chernoff, about management.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that one. That's going to be a good one.
Okay.
So it's going to be good.
Take care. Have a good evening, everyone.
Have a good one, everyone.
See you tomorrow.
Bye,
See you tomorrow.
Sandy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.